every time people talk about football games and you watch a football game and you think, what did I just watch? What's the best game of the season? I remember on the podcast we spoke about
the game involving Liverpool.
Chelsea Man City first leg this season. I think it was 1-1 or something like that.
1-0.
Or was it 1-0?
Yeah,
City won.
City won.
That was a really, really good game. Really, really good. Very intense. I think Liverpool have been involved in a couple of games.
Yeah, against City and against Chelsea.
Against Tottenham. I think was it Tottenham?
The 2-2, Abi? No, against Chelsea too. The one that James got red card.
There's a game Tottenham were involved in. Was it Tottenham Liverpool?
Yeah, 2-2.
Chelsea Liverpool.
2-2. No, Tottenham Liverpool.
2-2.
The Conte one.
Okay, yeah, 2-2.
That was a very good game. So I think Liverpool have been involved in
against Man City too. 2-2.
One of those good, some of the best 2-2. Games this season, right? Yeah. But I think that
the Carabao Cup
the Carabao Cup final probably stands as one of the best games, top 3 of the season.
Yeah.
I think that it's one of those games you can say because it's a final, everybody's a winner, right?
Yeah.
Like anybody that won the game, I think God opens the heaven gates for you and like, walking, you deserve to go in anyways. Anybody could have won the game.
Yeah, definitely.
Anybody could have won the game.
I think Chelsea had more chances to have won the game though.
Yeah. I think that also. I think that's the case.
In recent years, I think it's most maybe Klopp. Let me say Klopp.
No, I don't agree with that.
He's always having headaches when he wants to play with Chelsea. I think it's easier for you to say you want to play for Liverpool, their style of play. It's easier for them to say they want to play Man City than say they want to play Chelsea. I think that's why we saw that intensity, that the final was like that. Chelsea is a team that will tell you that, if it's to defend, we can always do that. We have that in abundance. If it's to attack as well, they have the players that could do it. But I think Klopp didn't expect that, Chelsea were going to be more creative, at the later part of the game. They were creating more chances. They had more opportunities and scoring. Like Yubi said, I think it would have gone in that ways. I expected Chelsea to have, nicked that goal, and that Lukaku's goal.
That's a goal.
I don't think that's
actually. That's actually a goal.
No, that's a goal.
They just showed it, and that was all. They said offside.
That's a goal, right? And we're gonna do a refereeing special episode on the show.
So what they said was, they don't consider the part where you can't use to score. So why chalk off the goal? Yeah, so
you can't score with his shoulder anyways.
No, so Van Dijk's hand was ahead of him, so you don't consider. So they started from here.
Even his legs.
BS,
it doesn't make any sense. Like, bro, for me, if you start going down to those little details, just allow the goal to stand.
Bro, Lukaku was onside.
It was onside.
And I tell you why this pisses me off a lot, because Chalobah is the guy that passes the ball to him. Chalobah too should have passed the ball maybe a split second earlier.
Yeah,
but even at that, he still stays onside for the goal.
Yeah.
You get, and it denies him a fantastic chance
to build his confidence.
To just rejig his season.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Because if he scored that goal at that time, I think that wins the game.
Bro,
right?
Definitely.
What I enjoyed the most is about the League Cup, and a lot of people say, it should be cancelled. It should be what? I think that unlike the rest of the finals, you normally have teams play Champions League final, FA Cup final, all these other finals. For me, the tournament is that both teams realize that the consequence of losing is not as dire. So maybe that allows them to
be more expressive.
And I think that really helped Chelsea a lot, Unlike other final that I've seen Chelsea play, a bit cagey, their game a bit cagey. They were very, very expressive, on the pitch. And they had a goal at Liverpool. I think the only clear chance Liverpool had, probably the one.
No, Liverpool had a lot of chances, though.
Yeah.
That's why I don't agree. They had Luis Diaz's chance. They had a Van Dijk save. I think it's one of the best saves of the season.
Van Dijk saved that. Extra time. That was an extra time.
You get.
But Chelsea, Mount could have scored 2 on the day.
Pulisic
could have scored. No, 2.
Yeah.
Pulisic 2, Mount 2,
Lukaku.
and Lukaku also. And I think if we're going to compare chances together, I think Chelsea, if both teams converted their chances on Sunday, I think Chelsea would have won at the end of the
Game
day.
of
A
peace.
very, very entertaining game, unlike what we've seen with Chelsea. And I think it's because this is not, at the back of their mind, it's like this is not the only final that will get a chance to play this season. I mean, this is just the first cup game in England.
I think the most important thing is that both teams wanted to win more than they wanted to avoid defeats. Do you get? And that's because I was trying to think.
Liverpool want to stop Chelsea. I think Chelsea.
No. Historically, it's not even about a club. It's not even club or Tuchel thing. Historically, Chelsea Liverpool games have always been. Have always been cat and dog.
Jose Benitez.
You get? I think Jose created that thing.
Jose Benitez.
He did that for Chelsea against Manchester United, against Arsenal, against Liverpool.
So that's always war. Chelsea Liverpool particularly always very cat and dog a type game, right? Let's get away from that. I mean, when you speak about Chelsea in the last 48 hours, you cannot avoid the Roman Abramovich story selling Chelsea. And I think that, this is one of the moments you have to, take a step back. And I have done that a couple of times, to maybe try and analyze what the last 15 years has been for football. And you realize immediately that some players, or some when I say players now, some stakeholders have been very instrumental to how the game is now played, right? First things first, he has some thoughts. He won't ask for the 1.2 billion, 1.5 billion loan to be repaid. I think that in itself deserves a round of applause because in the media, everything that was put out leading up to a potential sale is that he holds that bargaining chip against Chelsea. I think what he's done is the most benevolent thing I have ever seen any businessman do. Right? To say, you know what?
That's a whole
obviously,
lot of money,
1.5 billion, I'm going to donate to charity, to the guys at Ukraine, to the victims. With the circumstances that he sold the club, naturally, as a human being, you have some sort of, the way he's been almost hounded out, because obviously Roman would not sell the club in 10 years or even in 20 years time, right? Because he doesn't need to sell the club and he has a lot of money to keep the club and he loves the club. There's a tendency he would have said, you know what, as my final act, this is what I'm going to hold. This is my joker, right? And effectively, of course, you've seen the report, Chelsea would have been bankrupt, right? Or probably ceased to exist, right? 2003 to 2022 is 19 years. And in that short time, I have to say, he takes a bow. You get easily the best football manager. Best of luck to anyone who succeeds him, by the way. Because I think that you would like one of those jobs like Sir Alex Ferguson's, vacating a post. I think that no matter what you do, if you come into the job, you can't do it as good as him.
Definitely.
You can't set the same tempo.
Definitely.
And I've always said that you can't teach passion.
Can't be as ruthless.
You get,
Can't be as ruthless as
you
him.
can't teach passion. No club owner can be like that. You can't teach passion. You can't teach. What's the word? Being hands-on. And I think it still goes back to passion about the club because.
And it was very humble as well in terms of.
Did you meet him before?
No, players' relationship, owners and players' relationship. You see people like Drogba.
No, rich people are normally aloof. To be honest.
See,
when you have that kind of money, you're normally aloof. They can come off as aloof.
Well, the owner of Man United, I barely see them in games. I barely see them.
They're not passionate
have
about
any
it.
relationship with footballers.
Comes out to the passion that,
and they are rich as well.
Yubi is talking about.
I think the next person that will take that club, maybe the person needs to go meet Roman and ask for, what do they even call it? Is it expo they call it, or what do they call it? You need to, there has to be something, a guideline that you need to follow. And humility has to be part of it, relationship with the club.
Stop with that humility thing.
But then,
I'm not trying to be...
Stop with that humility
But
thing.
was he not humble?
Humble? Did you meet? Did you meet him before?
No, but when I mean humble, I mean this is someone that has almost practically everything he wants. He needs. Let me put it that way. This is someone that can come, maybe tell the players that he doesn't want to have anything to do with the players. Let me just have a relationship with the club director and all. This guy,
I don't think he will have as much
a
impact
relationship
if he
with the
does
players.
that.
What did you say?
I don't think he will have as much impact if he does that. You
Like,
can't
if
say
he shuts the
because the
players
players
out.
are those that will get the results
But
for
there are
you.
owners that don't do that. That's what I'm saying. There are owners that don't even have relationship with the players of the
I
club.
doubt it there will be an owner that won't have relationship with players.
I don't think.
With the players?
Hold on
I
a sec.
don't think,
Hold on
yeah.
a sec. Hold on a sec, guys. I don't agree with what IBK is saying because I think that is maybe an unnecessary observation, but Shiva Hanaprabha, the guy who passed away,
Leicester.
I don't think that Roman's relationship with the players is better than what he had with the players at Leicester.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree.
So the way the players speak about him, I mean, even documented. I mean, they travel to his place. They go there.
I mean, they brought monks to Leicester City.
Come on, so let's not
But I'm
play that humility
I'm
card.
not saying there are no owners that maybe does the same thing that Roman would do, but you barely see billionaires like just have a relationship with their players. Go and check it anywhere.
Okay,
Look at Spurs, look at Everton, look at United, look at Liverpool, look at Arsenal. How many of their owners do you even? I'm sure some players don't even know the name.
That's more passionate than humility.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's why I used the
They're
word.
all Americans.
I was struggling
People
to
you mentioned
use.
are all Americans.
You get it's more passion than anything. Roman is
Let's say
Russian.
passion.
I mean, I think Russians are passionate people, no?
Let's feel as passion.
Right. But in many ways, I think that when you speak about him, you cannot speak about him without mentioning that he changed the game. So you speak about Wenger, for example, and Jose Mourinho, Sir Alex, and one of the things that, aside the games they won, is the 360 turn or the 180 turn that those people left on the game. I think that before Roman came, there were only the financial structure of European football as we knew it. Real Madrid were the richest club in the world. Barcelona, Man United, and that's what it was, and it was always going to be like that. In terms of making investors see what was possible to do with a football club, I think Roman is the model example to show how people do that.
Definitely.
Right?
Definitely.
Because I mean,
Yeah, but when you say that, sorry, when you say that, you also know. So if he wants to request for the money that the club is owing him, does it still makes the business that he has done a profitable one? Because when you say that, you are saying that when he gets to the point where you're meant to write off debt because of how you love the club and because of what you are seeing the club do, then you write it off. Because if he decides to demand for that money now, Chelsea will be bankrupt. So has it been a profitable business in the last 19 years?
of course, it's been.
It's been a
So first of
profitable
all,
business.
first of all, you have to understand, Chelsea are not worth £2 billion, $2 billion or £2 billion, whatever. They are not worth that amount of money.
3 billion actually.
They are not worth $2 billion.
So he's going to make his money back,
You
right?
get, they're not worth $2 billion, right? You have to, and how before someone says I'm saying BS. How is all the Qatari owners, all the Saudi owners, they haven't bought any club more than 200 million pounds,
Yeah.
right? Newcastle, for example, has a history, maybe not as big as Chelsea, but a very rich history.
I think bigger than Chelsea.
With a bigger fan base.
Yeah.
Right? No, because of what Chelsea have achieved in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
You have to say that Chelsea now dwarf Newcastle.
Definitely.
But in terms of like English
Tradition.
Newcastle bigger club.
Bigger stadium. as
Bigger
well.
stadium, bigger fan base, a lot of Geordies.
Yeah.
I know a couple of Geordies in Lagos here. Right? So I don't think that Chelsea, in my opinion, are worth £2 billion. So you have to look at it from the perspective of when you leave that money on the table and walk away from it, it's him realizing that I can afford to leave the money on the table. That's benevolence. That's just purely because from a business point of view, he has every right to say, you know what,
Give me the
this is the
1.5.
money, that I invested into the club. And to be honest, he would still be a model owner that did model things for the football club.
And also, I think I might be wrong anyways, but I think he's also maybe looking for a quick buyer when you put that kind of thing out, because I heard that it's very possible that the UK government might
Seize other assets.
seize all his
Yeah,
assets.
I agree.
So imagine saying that, guy, I won't sell this thing, no, but
You get this
you
debt.
get this debt, so you guys pay.
Yeah.
I feel that you need to sell this thing off like
ASAP.
No.
I think-
no,
no,
no, no,
I don't-
no,
I don't
Let's
think-
not. Let's not.
Yeah.
Let's not.
I
Let's
don't think
not.
that's the case.
Let's not.
What I also
You can't
think is-
tie Roman's assets to Chelsea. You get those are separate entities entirely, right? What you can say is that he doesn't want trouble because
Yeah.
if he's a troublesome guy that doesn't read the room, he would hold on to the club. And you know what? Pay me my $2 million.
Mac actually did it now.
Yeah.
Mac
You
actually
understand?
frustrated everybody that wanted to buy
Pay
him
me
the
my
Newcastle.
money.
He said
No,
the
but
club
this is
was
different because
owing him money and he had to pay.
UK government can seize the assets, and they have a lot of things they can back it up with.
No, not without paying his money.
Not without paying.
Not without paying him his money. You understand? Not without paying me.
So
his
what
money.
I think
what
is
they can
that-
do, of course, what they can do is what they've done already. Declare you a persona non grata. You can't come into the country. You can't even use your Israeli passport. So even if you say, "Oh, I'm not Russian, but I want to fly in through," call my Israel.
Israeli
You can't do that, right? So they basically don't want you around the place. But ultimately, what he's doing is liquidating and he's not even liquidating. He's dashing them.
Dashing.
The
I think
project.
because
I
of
think
because of
that's
how
it.
much
That's
because of how much he actually loves the club. He wants to put the club in a worse place, right? So he wants to put the club in a very good place when
very
he
good
eventually
place.
leaves. So it is on record that this guy did a lot for the club and also left us in a good place when he was leaving.
I think he's iconic and honestly.
They said they should
You
build.
wouldn't have-
They said they should build a statue.
No,
for
of course
him.
that's the listing you can. No, that's the listing you can do. I don't think a statue just for Chelsea. I think a statue in the Premier League Museum, if there is one, because you're never going to have a guy like that
Roman.
that literally, when you break a duopoly, if you're a traditionalist, right, and you're conservative, the English are very conservative people,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And sometimes people think that is, they're not flashy. Sometimes it means they don't break the status quo for anybody. They don't want you to
That's
come
what-
into,
yeah.
you understand? And they are classists in that regard. To come in and break the duopoly of Arsenal and Man United, right? And make it possible for other investors to see that this is possible. And by the way, I just think that the Saudi guys will be pissed as hell. Yeah, like, guys, I sold this club last season, but I bought it now. You get, instead of buying Newcastle. You get.
I'm starting all over.
I'm starting all over. I'm starting from the scratch.
Newcastle is
But good luck to anybody who's trying to buy Chelsea.
My fear is I hope Chelsea don't turn out to be another Arsenal or Manchester United or AC Milan, because that is the fear right now. That is Chelsea fans are praying for Saudi owners, for Qatari owners, or Arab owners, and not one of those.
American.
I don't
capitalists
even
from
want to go
America.
into what the Chelsea fans are praying for, because then we leave the football podcast and it becomes a moral compass podcast, or because in the end, if he's been handed out of the club because of obviously his associations with Vladimir Putin, and you want Saudi owners, you are replacing. It's like replacing.
I think I
It's
know
like
where you're
replacing.
going.
from frying pan to fire, basically.
It's going from good to worse,
Yeah.
basically, because ultimately he's been handed out because of the human rights violation happening in Ukraine. The Saudis are not any better in that regard. Do you understand? So
And how the Newcastle deal went on, I still don't know.
I
till
think that
today.
we cannot
Well, it's money anyway.
get dragged into. He deserves to leave the club. That we can't get dragged into that. That's why, for example, when Wally hit me up yesterday and said we have to talk about Roman, I thought it's a topic where people would misconstrue easily, and I want to stick completely with football,
yeah.
right? But good luck to anybody who's placing him. I think that you would always come second to Roman, right? Anybody in the world. I make bold to say that.
Definitely.
I make bold to say that he's ran one of the best sports franchise in the world. And when you think about the best sports franchise in the world, you think about the New York Bulls, the Yankees. You think about the Lakers. What's the Rams? Who just the Rams? Are the Rams that big?
The
Rams
latest
are
win out of
big.
the NFL.
NFL. You think ultimately you think about the NFL teams first because they are the biggest sports franchises. But Chelsea easily, in terms of in the
Maybe in
short period, in
football.
the 19 years, I don't think that any football franchise or any sports franchise, that maybe big bold to say,
Was that
in that
competitive?
19 years is that competitive.
Yeah.
Many times, clubs get their winning mentality. For example, United get their winning mentality off Ferguson.
Yeah.
He was handed the keys to the city, and he built a winning mentality there. Conte, for example, restored Juventus to what they used to be. Liverpool, Klopp has brought that back. But in many ways, Roman was the reason Chelsea are.
That man was a very ruthless owner.
He came with that mentality.
What I'm going to give him
was
whatever,
very ruthless.
whatever respect him for was how he was able to sack Lampard. See, club legend, the highest goal scorer, the best player in your history.
That's even easy.
Just come out.
No, for me that's easy. If you sack Jose, you can sack anybody. You get if you fire Jose.
Things were really deteriorating.
For you to know that it's difficult, he had to bring out a statement as well after sacking Lampard. So I think
there was a statement after I fired.
After
I fired Jose the first time?
There was a statement.
From Roman.
Do you know how many people Roman fired?
I was reading an article and they said that was practically the first time Roman would actually talk about.
Roman was firing managers that had, it's like hiring Ngozi Gonjiwela. You understand? Come and run the podcast. She's not making money. We cut her off immediately. You understand? That's what Roman did. Ancelotti.
And there's this mentality that you can't go more than 2 seasons without winning. More than a season without winning a trophy.
I think the biggest credit for him
is a trophy.
It's the managers knowing that. I think they could tell when the sack was coming. So you can tell. So at Barcelona, you can still walk around with a chip on your shoulder, like you can see the man here.
I think
At United,
Chelsea and Madrid, they have the same setup in terms of managerial setup. You know that you are
going to be fired.
You know that this is the minimum requirement.
And
we will pursue
no
you.
pity at all.
First season, just get us into the Champions League. No wala. You know win anything, no wala.
Yeah.
But the second season, you can't talk say,
after buying
the boys are not ready to win. Okay, no.
You get my problem.
The boys are not ready.
My
problem where you play for.
My worry for, and I don't worry about Chelsea fans. I think that it's about time everybody collects, a fair share of this
right now.
wilderness trenches.
We don't
like you said, is what they will miss the most is, and it's a weird thing to say, is Roman's intolerance of bad results.
Yeah,
they will miss that more than anything.
Definitely.
Normally clubs are the way the media is now. If they have a favorite, they say give him time. You never heard anything like that about Chelsea.
No.
That thing was never there.
Now you get my club. Now you go to tell me.
That intolerance. You know that at the end of the season.
You can't tell Roman that.
Going to go.
You can't tell Roman that.
Di Matteo wins Champions League season. You fire him 3 months into the new season. That intolerance is what you need.
The list is unending.
I'm just realizing it.
But more than anything.
Jose Mourinho, the list is unending.
More than anything, right, is most likely, and this is what Chelsea fans must thank Roman for another 10 years or 20, is that if Roman held on to the price tag, demanded what he wanted, and my friend Bella Kazim makes a brilliant point. Most likely, anyone who came into the club to buy the club at that price would have fully focused on optimizing for profit. What usually happens when that happens is when I buy something for a price I think I'm overpaying, my focus is immediately to try and make the money back almost instantly.
Just like Nigeria's politics.
Right? Which is what the Glazers have done with Man United, because they took a loan to buy the football club. They took the loan and put it back on the football club, right? Which is one of the smartest pieces of business I've ever seen in my entire life. So in many ways, I think Chelsea fans, when the dust settles, will realize just how much he's done already, but has also given the club a future by not holding on to what would have rightly been his, rightly been his fair share. So for me, biggest credit to Roman in that regard.
Definitely.
Definitely. Always.
Yeah. Right then.
And just like you said, the Premier League really they need to.
They need to do this study for him.
They need to honor him.
You understand? Need to do this study for him. I thought that he'll probably ride this out, when he handed over the club to the charity. But I think you could tell that, these guys, never really they never really want him here or something like that. And it was all the amount of time before that happened.
All right, guys. I'm a man that needs no introduction on this show. It remains the Hindsight Podcast. When it comes to talking sport, when it comes to talking football all around the world, you get the best information from this particular podcast. You can always join us online, on YouTube, on IG, anywhere online. You can always join. Even on Clubhouse, we're there for you to dish you the best information when it comes to sports all around the world. Stay tuned always.